There we go. Okay. You going? Are you going? Your little ears. Your little ears. Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Used to Have a Problem. Hopefully the video is popping up. I'm not seeing anything yet. So maybe I'll scratch Monkey's ears a little more. What are the ears? What are the ears on that side? Yeah, that side. Oh, both at the same time. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Ah. Why is the video not popping up, Monkey? Okay. I've clicked the thingy. It's 30 seconds now, and it still hasn't popped up on my screen. It says excellent connection. Here it goes. Ah, finally. Whew. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Used to Have a Problem. It's Thursday. It's not Wednesday. I didn't do a show yesterday. I had lots of things going on. Finally got my little car approved by the Washington State Patrol saying, yes, that is a car and not a pile of parts. So freedom is upon me now. I can now just get in it and just go to Canada if I want to. So the buying of the options has reached like over 10 million shares worth of options. GME options chain. Let's see, are they updated yet? Oh, they do. Okay, so we are at, look at the guy to the June 21. June 21, insane amount of options. We've got 9,000 at $12, 2,000 at 13, 2,000 at 14, almost 5,000 at 15, 6,000 at 16, 2,000 at 17, 6,000 at 18, 1,000 at 19, 100,057 at $20, 2,021, 3,000 at 22, 1,000 at 23, another 20,000 at 25, 13,000 at 30, 20,000 at 40, 7,000 at 50, 5,000 at 55, 12,000 at 100, and 7,000 at 125. So the options chain is loaded for the June leaps. Just, and they hammered the stock price down today, right towards the end, try to push all those options out of the money. Tomorrow we go to Alasim. Tomorrow we don't have too much going on in the options chart. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Probably like 20,000 options, about 2 million shares currently in the money. That, if we get to $20, we could, get close to doubling that. I think what happened was, this is my personal theory, is that Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, DFV, he dropped $1 million on $12 517 calls back in April, and for $12. And at some point, those $12 calls last week became worth between $50 and $150 million. And so he sold, made a giant pile of cash off of it. And now what he's doing, and I don't know it's him, but I have a feeling it is that he is heavily loading the options chain for the January leaps, or June leaps, with that cajillions of dollars. He's done 100,000. What was the June 21? So they got 100,000 here. Probably about $5 each, or 500 each. So 100,000, 500, about $50 million worth of options have been purchased for at these $20 marks. That's a lot of money, and he may have $5 to $100 million left in cash. So if he might keep loading on some of these, and I wouldn't doubt if he also got some lotto tickets out here as well. They also purchased a whole bunch of puts. So on the $30 side, I think it is. Puts are starting to get purchased at the $30 side. So that's kind of hedging, as well as a whole bunch of puts over on the opposite side of the like 6 months from now in January. So that's the hedge, because the price will go woohoo and then eventually go boink, and they'll make money on both sides. Also, if these options trigger, but they don't trigger that high, you can immediately sell them via the puts you purchased. But what can then happen is next week, when all these swaps start to come due, the week after, the price starts to get really weird. You can start putting lit exchange orders in and jacking that price even more while the gamma is ramping up and they're delta hedging and doing all the other things that they're doing. So I think it's pretty awesome and large and freakish play if one thinks about it. Okay, back to Big Me and the daytime.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, turn it off, you ding dong. It's off. Monkey butt. You can guarantee that. Yes. Okay, so RB 1986 1. Z, oh my god, do with nub 2. Kev's Moo 86 3. Hungry Caveman 4. And Z, you gotta do with nub turtles. Jason Blackwell, hey Houston, my last tube has got his degree from Stanford. He's now a graduated cylinder. I think I read that as last. It's test tube. It would have been better if I had read it correctly rather than being completely dyslexic. Jason Blackwell, if Lil B wants to do some fishing, I'm smelling some new fish in the lurker pool. Yes, Javier Martinez, happy belated birthday. Copy and paste, happy name day. Houston, the shirted. Today, yes. Michi Sherperpeel. Sherpereel. Fifth. Meagle, give us some hopium. I hope I just did. Things are going to get wild as these swaps start to expire and we run up. The prices are going to go absolutely just silly, I think. I mean, for that June, let's look back at June. We got 10,000, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26, 28, 34, 35, 135, 137, 140, 141, 142, 162, 163. So if we get to $26, we'll put 13 million shares in the money just alone. And those numbers are going to start to build up really, really quick when we get closer to the week 2, because the people who will buy weeklies will be jumping in as well. So these things will go nuts. And there's Lobi gifting some memberships. D was gifted membership. Fabrizio, the plopper, was gifted membership. Chris F, Axel F, we got the F family in here. Fac Bolanos, Walt the Man in the Middle, K Bo, Question House, John H, and Creek Chubb. All gift memberships. A couple of lurkers in there and a couple of old-timey ones. Axel F, are you excited that Axel F will be coming to Netflix? Beverly Hills Cop 4 coming to Netflix. So, get ready. Show us pics of the BMW. Do I have anything online on the BMW? Here we go. Here we go. There it is. Boom. Ta-da! There's Monkey Butt and I in the sweet ride. Now it's officially licensed and ready to go. Looks pretty good from a distance. The rear quarter panel on the driver's side still's got a little hickey up in it. I may have to just buy a new one because I don't think I can smooth it out anymore. And then it'll look like pretty cherry. A couple of plastic things I got to replace on the inside, but it's okay. It drives really well. It hauls ass. Corners on it like it's on rails. It's a pretty fun little car. So, and it gets like 30 something miles per gallon. So it's I like it. I dig it. It's fun. It's a fun car. Digging fun cars. Fun car digging. Okay. Where am I? Hungry Kid, any word from Ron? No. I've got no word from Ron. I'll message him again. Take him out to lunch or something. Ludwig Vladimir Dormer. Hey, Houston, when Teddy shares finally? If I knew, I'd probably be a board member of them. So, I don't know. RB1986, Friday in Denmark. Just crossed the Friday hour there. SJ, happy birthday for yesterday. Nikudara, happy birthday, HW. Brian Andrews, Houston, amidst all the GME excitement, I have not heard or kept up with No Labs. Do we have any promising news? Same with MMTLP. No Labs, they presented another conference, I believe. That's the last I heard. They are currently doing all their trials to meet the requirements to apply the FDA. And my guess is this fall they're going to shoot for FDA application. And that's the last I heard out of them. They sent an email maybe last week before about presenting at some conference. And then MMTLP, the last we heard out of them was earlier, or at the end of April, I think, and they were they filed under Rule, what was it, 201, whatever it is, to demand information at a trade station regarding their stock. And there's a hearing on that next Friday, the 31st. So, yeah. So that's what we got. So, gotta wait for next Friday, see if anything comes out of that hearing in federal court in Dallas. Lapatron, 69 views. Oh, maybe then. Scott Paul, lots of options hedging for GME lately. D, happy late birthday, Houston. Any comment on 99.9% of the BBYQ crowd being QAnon nuts like the MMTLPM crowd? Respectfully, those BBYQ leaders are worse than scum. Self-reflection must happen. I mean, in finance in general, there's a lot of conservative folk. And in a movement where there are powers that be who can like dictate what goes on, it naturally gravitates the conspiracy crowd into it. I prefer we stick to what we can prove via documentation, court orders, things like that, than speculating that Donald Trump is going to merge with Bed Bath & Beyond, and then they're going to blow up Epstein Island. No. Donald Trump is going to bilk all his investors of everything he can, and then peace out, because that's what he does. So I think some of the people in the BBYQ movement and the MMTLP movement are good people who mean well. Some of them are absolute weirdos, because this seems to attract that a lot. Last show I said, let's try and not put the weirdos up on a pedestal, because it absolutely ruins our ability to attract good attention onto us. What was that quote? Nothing worse for a cause than getting the approval of a real son of a bitch. That's where we got to deal with that a lot. Since 54, all I see is GME going on sale one last time before liftoff. Fuck with my MOAS, and I'm coming for your ass. Like Pelosi said about Congress, it's a free market, and they should be able to participate. Yeah. First Day Productions. I'm told there's a bullet swap worth $87 billion that's due at the end of May. They are targeting June options chain. Yeah, there's a lot of swaps. So, oh crap, what's his name? I think someone has it in the chat somewhere up here. Of course, there's the reset of the chat. Richard Newton, that's right. Richard Newton, I think he's like a high school math teacher who does lots of statistical analysis on this stuff. He he took the data from Peruvian Bull about the swaps, and he sort of put it into like the cyclical cycle we were seeing that was happening, November, January, March, June, August, November, January, and so on. And he laid out the swap dates, and the swaps are generally, I think, 2-year swaps, and they stagger them. And they started to get so big in January and March and June of 2021 that they put them into these giant, like, super swap obligations warehouse stuff. And the cyclical swaps, those are due on the 31st. The 87 billion in the big obligations warehouse one is due on June 3rd. And it represents probably several billion naked shares on the stock. At least probably 2 billion, if not more. And it seems like a pretty good theory that he came up with on that. And yeah, so the swaps they're a trading of liabilities. So you can force somebody to hold your liability for you if you pay interest on it. And that's what, like, the bullet swaps were. So there's probably billions in bullet swaps from Credit Suisse and others, from Archegos, and just straight short sellers. Basically, you're like, hey, I've got these liabilities, and I don't want to hold on to them for now. You hold on to them, and I will pay you an interest rate. And it's a really weird, dumb system. And it's among the swaps, like equity swaps and debt swaps and stuff, that you'll see where, like, you'll see the equity swaps happen when a hedge fund wants the ability to naked short, but they aren't allowed to according to Reg Show. So they will pay interest to a market maker like Citadel for the right to naked short through them. So the hedge fund technically has the liability, but they're paying an interest rate to Citadel to hold the liability for X number of years. And you can get the debt swaps where you have FTDs. You know, they get the T plus 35, if you guys have heard about that. You sell a naked share, comes to clearing, and the two brokerages are supposed to, like, trade money and trade shares, and one trades the money, the other one's like, I don't have a share. So they reach into an account somewhere and pull one out and trade it, and they leave a little IOU in it. Well, the hedge fund who was on this side who sold the share, hedge fund on this side sold the share, they need to, they got 35 days to provide one, right? They First of all, it's supposed to be like in 2 days, and if they don't, then it's like a T13, and then it's like if you don't do it by 35 days, you're gonna be in trouble, young man. And then by 35 days, they don't do anything about it. And what they do instead is they trade the liability of that IOU with somebody else who has an IOU that's similar, and then you just reset the clock. It's a dumb system. It's a really dumb system with really dumb loopholes. And so there's all sorts of weird derivatives. There's probably ones I can't even think of or even know about, because the derivatives market is so convoluted with these weird liabilities, obligations, swaps, credit default swaps, just crazy stuff. If you look at the books for some of these prime brokers like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and stuff, you will see that they've got derivatives that are liabilities that are in like $600 trillion. So this 87 billion, while stupid huge and absolutely out of control, it pales in comparison to like what actually exists out there. It could be the straw that broke the camel's back, though, because when they started shorting this company back in 2014, shorting GME, GameStop was doomed. They were in a debt cycle. They had poor management. They weren't doing upkeep or innovating or keeping new customers. They were a dying business. And so, yeah, shorting them and then forcing them to die was the play to make. And here we are 10 years later. They're profitable. They're likely to become a holding company with tons of blue chips and cash on hand. You do not want to short these guys. So when they got hit in 2021, it was like, oh, it's a fluke. We'll just do these swaps. But 3 years later, they've emerged as a solid company that with a basal value to it, and your liabilities are gigantic. So if you can't find anybody to take on these obligations, you might be screwed and forced to go in and buy everything up. There's a rumor that UBS, who's holding huge bags, A, from the first time around to Archegos, because they were one of the lenders to Bill Hwang, and 2, when they took on the bags from Credit Suisse when they went under. So they've got like twice the poison going on, that they may set this whole thing off by just closing these positions and getting rid of it, because I don't think they'll be able to find anybody to take these bags. So the best thing for them to do is just power through, because it seems like the Swiss central bank is kind of pressuring them to do it. Like, just get rid of these obligations, finish it. Oh, that's one thing I was going to look up. Warner Discovery. That was one of the bags Bill Hwang had. Warner. Yeah, WBD. That's what I want. WBD options chain. WBD options chain. So Discovery, now that Warner's Discovery, had huge liability. There's huge liabilities because Hwang was trying to short them. And let's see if they have something similar. Oh boy, they do. Look at that. Okay, so this might lead some credence to the numbers we're seeing from GameStop. We've got some big open interest for the June monthlies for Warner Brothers Discovery. In the money, 6,000, but just out of the money, 45, 16, 22, 13, 12, up at 25,000, and some pretty big puts, 51,000 at 7.5. That's and 25,000. So this looks like, yeah, there could be huge investment options from those who are short on this right now, as a way of getting out of this cheaper than having to pay the exorbitant prices of closing positions in the market via shares. This might be UBS. What other? Anyone else know what was in the basket from Archegos? I know Discovery was. We had always had a feeling that GME was. Let me see if we can look that up. Archegos short basket. Okay, bullet swaps, blah blah blah. Archegos capital management. GameStop been targeted by synthetic shorting. Archegos capital management. Let's do short positions, maybe. That's a short basket. Short positions. Archegos received payment on TRS. The value of underlying securities declined. The only one I can remember off the top of my mind was Discovery, and then looking at the options chain there on Warner Brothers Discovery makes me think that these guys are all digging in. Investment firms took positions on stocks hit by Archegos. Here we go. Okay, so there's Discovery, Viacom, Baidu, and Discovery. Okay, so let's look at Viacom. Viacom options chain. Paramount Global. Is that same thing as Viacom? Viacom. Oh, it's Paramount Global. Okay, so Paramount Global was Viacom. What are their options chain? I want June 2024. Nothing too big in there. That's June 7th. We want June 21st. Okay, nothing too big for them. What was the other one? Baidu? Baidu options chain. Baidu corporate options chain. What do you got for me? That's a stock that does not look like it's been shorted very much. June 21st. We got some decent numbers. Not too much in the money, but quite a few just out of the money. Okay, all right. Any others? So Viacom, Baidu, Discovery. Any others listed in there? Melvin was hurt badly. The bearish GameStop thing. Hedge funds. All right, Viacom. So just those ones. So looks like Discovery and GME are the ones currently they're having a huge load up of options contract buying. Okay. If anyone can find any other information on possible shorts from them and look up the options chain, post it to the subreddit. I'd love to see it. So, right, Floor Dog? Yep. Okay, so, blink. Oh, yeah, you go away. Victor M, hi Houston. When do you think the next GME squeeze will start with all the options? The price for GME right now is an awesome deal. If it doesn't happen before next Friday, probably on the Monday and Tuesday after. Because the buying is gonna have to happen because of if that swap theory plays out. So yeah, and that could lead to huge prices for the closings on the 7th, the 14th, and then finally the monthlies at 23 or 20 on the 21st. So weird stuff's about to happen. Weird stuff is happening. Danny Mullets Houston, happy birthday. Do you think GME goes below $10 again? I think it's going to be really, really hard to push it below $10 at this point. What about you, Monkey? You think it's going to be really hard to do?
Yeah, you think it'd be hard to do? Yeah.
All right. Chris F. bought 200 more today. Good job. Snort alert. Oh, Houston. Crystal ball time for the peasants like me. Chances to win a war of Taiwan against China. For how long would the halt in chip production hurt the economy? Thanks in advance. The halt in chip production will hurt the economy probably for years, because we will not be up to capacity with the new factories we're building here yet to make up for it. I think it's very likely that the entire Chinese Navy gets sunk in 3 weeks. They might be able to fly things over and do bombings and stuff, but all those Navy ships are going to be at the bottom of the South China Sea. The number of munitions and modern weapons, NATO weapons that Taiwan has is redonkulous. They're a tiny little nation full of all sorts of crazy weapons, and Chinese specs are based upon Soviet specs. The Soviet specs get shredded by 40-year-old NATO weapons. So yes, China might be building new stuff, but a lot of that new stuff is still based on specs from 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Plus, there's a lot of graft and corruption inside the Chinese military. So you'll hear stories about like rockets being filled with water instead of fuel because the fuel got sold in the black market, things like that. It's very, very similar to the Russian military in that regard. Also, they've had problems paying their soldiers. There's been like little protests from soldiers like, hey, we haven't got a paycheck in months. So it's really hard to wage a war like that. They got a lot of people. But there's a big stretch of water between all those people and that little island. And that little island can hit pretty much any ship that comes near it if they want to. So no one wants a war, though. China, least of all, should want a war because it will absolutely flatline their entire economy and probably result in an uprising of the people. Because while the military is trying to take over the island, the people will like lose all their jobs and be starving, and they'll, Viva la Revolution. Rosé Productions, when will the Nvidia sham be revealed? Dario, he's the dude who's the financial writer who usually writes on just like the Chinese economy. He lives in like Beijing or Shanghai or something. He's been doing very good stuff on it, and Nobody Special has been done great investigations into it. But basically what you have is you got companies like CoreWeave. CoreWeave is a fraud. Basically, they existed. They got a whole bunch of venture capital from Nvidia. They used that bunch of capital to buy chips from Nvidia, which they received, and then they borrowed money using the chips as collateral, with the promise that they're going to build these server farms. And then Microsoft invested into them, thinking that they'll get these server farms built, they can use their AI for it. But nothing's been built, and no contracts have been drawn up, and nothing is happening. And then Nvidia says, look at all these sales we made. But really what they did is they just gave money to CoreWeave, and CoreWeave gave them the money back, and then CoreWeave used the chips they got to borrow money. And it seems to be a giant Enron scam. This is the stuff that Enron was doing in the natural gas market. Was they would find a little natural gas seller, they give them money so that the natural gas seller would buy gas from Enron, and then they'd get the gas, and then that little company would borrow on the larger market against the assets of the gas. It was just this giant Ponzi, basically. And then they went under. The same hedge fund that took down Enron is pointing fingers at CoreWeave right now, and Nvidia saying there's a scam going on. It all falls apart eventually. Once the shine and novelty of AI wears off, and we start to see more ineptitude and corruption and false promises from the AI crowd, I think AI takes a huge drop. All the investment into these really expensive, really fancy graphics cards and chips from Nvidia, they take a back burner. So I think it's coming eventually. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but AI can do some cool stuff. It really can, especially if you're a programmer and you're like, hey, I need help making this batch file or this program work. It can like plug it out for you, edit it, whatever. But it's really terrible at writing things. It's really terrible at finding factual information. It's really terrible at just mimicking what it sees and just providing you with like plagiarized copies of stuff. And we can start to see who is leaning on this AI and who is doing original work pretty easily. And I think in the future, the people who can do original work will be seen as a luxurious premium, and those who rely upon AI to produce, well, subpar quality, they'll be seen like, oh, you kind of suck at this. So, yeah, I know that the new CEO of the Washington Post was like, we're gonna force you journalists to put AI into everything, and I just straight up canceled my subscription. I was like, no, I'm not going to pay for some computer program to speculate on things that a human being could actually verify. Like, is AI going to be in the White House briefing room asking questions? Is AI going to be running down leads for important journalistic projects? Is AI just going to render what they think is happening in a war zone? Like, no, you need humans and boots on the ground to do this stuff. And if you're just going to have AI do everything, then the other side's going to have AI do everything. It'll be an AI machine at the press conference with an AI machine representing the president at the press conference, both asking each other questions. Eventually, we're just going to have robots fighting robots, and we're going to sit back and be like, our robots are better than your robots. No, and it's just a useless future that we're in. And then the robots go, well, this sucks. Let's just kill all humans. And then they're going to do that. All right, you are giving me the stare down. We're only like a half an hour into the show. It is a short show today. All right, fine. You know what? We haven't done one of these in a little while, so boink. Oh yeah, sell it, baby. Sell it. Want a nuggie? Do you want a nuggie? Come get one. Come here and get it. Yeah. It's a little heart. Yeah. Oh. Oh, such a good crunch. Such a good crunch, monkey. What's this one here? Here, you gotta crunch it right there. Oh. You should be in radio commercials with a crunch like that. You should listen to her eat a potato chip off of a travertine floor. It is the most beautiful crunch sound you'll ever hear. The Foley artists should be there with their microphones, just recording that just perfect crunch. Okay. Can you explain what ball swap is? I think I just did that one. Houston, you are buffering like crazy. Am I? Because that's just, I'm sorry, Snartlert. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, pass all the gifts there. Philip Tang, yo Houston, what did you do on your last birthday? Remember? Taco party with the family. Took Monkey Butt for a walk through town. Got treats from everybody. Yeah. Spent time in a long line at a certain place, waiting. Nunya D Biz, I wish I had some dry powder, but I'm making other plays right now, and I don't have anything left to play with. That happens. Too many things happen all at once. You're like, and sometimes you just got to pick one. So, I get it. Paul disagree with a lot of the GME options talk about crazy bullish bets. Well, crazy bullish is one thing. Buying options in the money, that is how Nancy Pelosi does it. Nancy Pelosi buys options in the money. She doesn't buy stuff that's like 10, 20 bucks out of the money. No, she buys it in the money. Pretty much a guaranteed return. To me, this is someone hedging a massive short position. That could be happening too. It could be UBS going in there thinking they're going to close these bags a lot cheaper than if they had to buy in the open market for that same number of shares. Whisker Biscuit conspiracy that Alexander K programs macros and intros to turn them on, back on after you turn them off. Lapatron, let's go. It's a bitchin' little Z4. It's a bitchin' little Z4. It's the smallest car I've ever owned, and I had it parked in the parking lot, and I came back out, and I was like, oh, someone stole my car. Completely forgetting that it's like so much shorter than all the others that was just hiding behind the SUV. I'm used to driving giant cars I can see from a mile away. Legacy in production in Houston. When will the 3-year leaps officially expire? Is it the first market day in June? What type of price action does your magic ball forecast? And Fish wears a mattress. Well, they expire on the 31st, which tells me the first day they don't have them will be the 1st of June. Then the giant ones, the 87 billion ones, are the 3rd of June. So I mean, if they find somebody to roll this over and keep the swap going, we may never hear about it. But according to the cycles we saw, they might not have that ability this time around. Because when the company's doing garbage and they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, yeah, you can probably find somebody to take those bags. But it's not losing money anymore. And the stock prices remain fairly stable for quite a long time. And you might not be able to find somebody on the opposite side of that trade to go, yeah, we'll take this for you. Because the interest rate or the fees on these swaps are probably draining the cash of these hedge funds or market makers or whoever's behind them, and has been for years. And the next swap around, I mean, if you're paying interest on $87 billion, let's say it's 1% interest, right? You're still spending $870 million a year just so somebody else can hold on to that liability for you. So over the last couple of years, you've spent, $2.5 billion just so somebody will hold on to that liability for you. And the interest rate's probably going to be higher than that this next time around. So let's say you roll that over. The 87 billion becomes 100 billion next time around. And the interest rate might be like 8%. Is a hedge fund going to pay $8 billion a year of their clients' money in order to keep this stuff off their books? I don't think they can. I think it's just going to get so big and so crazy that someone like UBS is going to jump in and just close this stuff out. And whoever gets out first, that's who wins or loses less than everyone else. It's the people who've got their fingers in their ears and their eyes closed, going la 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 la. Those are the ones that end up bringing down the entire system. So if you are a little hedge fund, get out now before one of the big boys do it and you don't have a choice. Just be done. Write it off. Tell your clients that you fucked up, you bet wrong, and maybe you lived to see another day. But if someone big with huge bags like UPS is in on this thing, trying to close it all out at the end of this month, whoo. Okay. Good Sunday. Very sweet ride, Houston. My 15.5 GME call went from 300 to 3,000 and back to 300 today. Sounds about right. LB, congrats on a beautiful blue ride. Thank you. Black Bounce, nice Z Houston. Thank you. Mike Forst, give me 150 Gme calls and I will bail out of jail for speed. Incredibly pretty car. This is Miguel. Gme will go back to 1750 or the Golden Cross. After that, it's bullish. Yeah, that sounds about right. It'll bounce off something. And at some point, someone's going to see the deal and start buying shares. Derek Horse, Houston. I got my Miata running and got a sunburn on my BBY shares ever coming back. Bread. I think so. I heard nothing. I've heard nothing come out of the court from last Friday. Not a single peep. So my guess is things got moved to June again. Anyone have any updates on that? I've seen nothing. Yeah. Alexander K, happy birthday, Houston. Just watched the sunrise over Haleakala today and then biked down the volcano. That sounds like fun. Cold and then fun. Antonio Baez, I love your car, Houston. Thank you. Derek Horse, also, are brain worms contagious? I think only if you eat the worm. So, in that respect, yes. G-Font, short sellers hate this one thing, liking and subscribing. All right, lost my spot again. Where am I? Antonio Baez, better than my truck. I was thinking of offering you. Well, I still need to fix my truck so I can do my fun hobby stuff. But this car was $1,200 at auction. It just took 4 months to fix it. Well, it took like 2 months to finally get it fixed and everything. And then another 2 months before the state could be like, yes, that's a car. Here is your registration. Ace Ventura, Rock Solid doesn't owe anyone money. We joke that he left our server because he got bought. It's just an inside joke. Well, you should know since we bug you, lol. I picked up on that after a while. I was like, who's this Rock Solid everyone keeps talking about? But yes, I got that eventually. Psych you up, Houston. Seems like the shorts are hammering IEP down to $16.29 with a $4 dividend, $1 per quarter. So that's 25% increase every quarter, right? There really isn't much downside. 25% yearly. That's if you don't reinvest. It's like much higher if you do reinvest, like 28%. But yeah, it's very, 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 very low price to have on a stock that's going to pay you 25% a year. You won't find other stocks that lowly priced with that kind of dividend. So, yeah, that seems to be what happening. Citizen 54, they'll try to fudge you, discredit via association, post many articles denouncing your investment, screw you, and then point at the previous to get away with it. Seems like a plan in action currently. Andrew VH, heard anything about a few other meme plays pop up like G-Wave, FFIE, Cent, or BNED? Maybe one will pop and can move my profits or GME, not financial advice. Well, FFIE is a pump and dump. Zach Morris, who's part of Atlas, what do they call them? Atlas Financial, whatever. They were popped by the feds last fall for a $100 million pump and dump scheme. One of the defendants pled guilty. Zach got off on a technicality because the feds apparently lied on their warrant to the federal judge who signed it to arrest them. They said he was planning to flee the country or something, so they needed to get him now. And I can't remember all the stuff details in it. So basically, the judge ruled that the warrant was invalid and the arrest was invalid, and the case got dismissed. Immediately from when the case was dismissed is when Zach Morris started setting up a troll and bot farm network to pump FFIE. My guess is he took that $100 million, bought up all the FFIE stock he possibly could, and is now on a gigantic PR wave all over social media, all over Facebook, all over Reddit, all over Twitter, pumping the hell out of this thing. And I'm pretty sure he rug pulled everyone last Friday. Because he bought in at 1 cent and sold at $5, $4, whatever it was last Friday. And he went up like 60,000%. He rug pulled all of you. He'll go to prison for this for sure. He's not been very quiet about it at all. He's been all over Twitter posting FFIE over and over and over again. And for a dude who's already under investigation for multiple pump and dumps to do a giant one like this, he may end up with billions from it. he might have billions of cash right now. But if he's still in America, he's still in the U.S. and not in a non-extradition country, he is the dumbest feather plucker in existence. That dude needs to take that cash, put it offshore somewhere where the feds can't get it, and then never leave the non-extradition country he's in, because they'll get him. So yeah, my guess is the other ones, the G-Wave and Cint and BNED. Well, BNED is also another distraction pump and dump. People were mentioning it before. That's not actual Barnes & Noble. Actual Barnes & Noble is owned by a private equity company. This is Barnes & Noble Education. They get the contracts to run college bookstores on campus. Very small market, very small company, not much in the way of earnings. And it looks like the sale already went out of that one. So somebody pumped and dumped that sucker already. And there you go. My camera's doing the flashy flashy thing again. Can you stop that, please, camera? Yeah, so G-Wave and Cint, probably along the same lines, be my guess. The Oat Milk Man, the most threatening name on the internet. It's been a minute, but I'm glad I caught a live show. Yay, Oat Milk Man's here, monkey. Yay. Side-eye. Always side-eye. The disapproval of that from that dog is rampant. Coffee Donuts and Homer. He talked about the leaps and bullet swaps and lays them out against GME timeline. Great content. It is. I recommend the video. He does a pretty good job. At first, you're like, what is going on? And then he starts describing the timelines and everything. And you go, oh, his weird, giant, filled graph starts to make sense. Don Cesar Shadem. You sometimes make predictions about the economy's future. How about your prediction of what will happen in the life of Elon Musk? Wildest guess. I mean, what will happen versus what should happen are going to be two entirely different things. What should happen is the federal government goes, pee into this cup, and if he fails, they take his security clearance and seize SpaceX. That's what should happen. What will happen, my guess is over the next 5 years, he personally torpedoes every company he's involved in due to the irrational choices he makes while blottoed out of his mind on ketamine, LSD, cocaine, and everything else. He is making really, really dumb, rash decisions. So he's trying to force the Tesla board to get to reauthorize that $56 billion pay package, the one that got overturned by the Delaware Chancery Court, and basically saying like, hey, you either re-up this or I take the robotics and AI out of Tesla, and you guys never get a piece of it. So he's like holding that hostage, which can be pretty difficult considering the fact that the company owns it and not him. So let's say he doesn't get the pay package. He tries to strip that stuff apart and destroys Tesla in the process. Well, that destroys pretty much all of his semi-liquid net worth because SpaceX isn't public, Boring isn't public, the XAI isn't public, Twitter isn't public, and so he pretty much obliterates his net worth. A lot of his fanboys will start to leave him, I think, if he purposely destroys Tesla as like some sort of drug-induced vengeance. So the Tesla board's going to have to grant him that $56 billion pay package, which is going to get absolutely torn apart in Chancery Court again because the company is not meeting any of its goals. Unless they set the goals so low. But even then, it could be argued that that's an exorbitant fee to pay someone for a company that is like missing sales marks and quality marks and laying off tens of thousands of employees and having to hire them back because, oops, we actually need them. No, all the people who were hired as interns this summer got fired before they ever showed up. So all the engineering students who are like, oh boy, I got an engineering internship at Tesla. This is going to be great. They got an email being like, don't show up. There's no job for you. So things are definitely squirrely. My guess is Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, continues to hemorrhage users, continues to be taken over by bots even more. And when he releases the Everything app part of it, there's going to be a huge security breach of some kind because he fired everyone at Twitter. So the only programmers he could hire back are the people who can't get jobs elsewhere, or are so in the head that they're like, oh, Elon's the best, even though he treats everyone like shit. So you're not going to have very good quality control for something you're trying to make into a financial institution. And that was problems he had with PayPal. Was he basically fucked up the entire website, and payments weren't going through, people weren't getting their money. And it was like in 2 months. He basically took a working functional website where people were using the company name as a verb, like I'll PayPal you that, and just tried to change into x.com and fucked with the entire API and underlying code. And all of a sudden payments weren't going through, people's bank accounts couldn't connect, and the board was forced to fire him and basically reverse everything he had done. So that seems to me that 4 or 5 years, he'll probably be a neckbeard with hair plugs, and that's where he'll be. Just from Dax, you got here. So DFV is doing what you said an ape should do if they won the Powerball. He must be a fan of yours, man. If he wants to show up on the show sometime, or pop into the chat, like, hey, dude. If that is him, he's doing almost exactly what I said if somebody won the Powerball they should do, because he could trigger MOAS that way. He probably still has $50 to $100 million in cash that he can use to start buying shares, lit exchange in the money, and just bloop, push that thing right over. So, woo! Yeah. Okay. Raw 2014. Houston. If Nick's Bridge Hydrocarbons starts to sell oil and issues royalties, how do the shareholders that are at Equinity get paid? The money would go into their Equinity account, and then they would be asked to probably connect a bank account to it. That would be why. Gallinus. Why should I care about the Wu-Tang album? A, it's supposed to be amazing. B, it could be used as a digital dividend for GME shareholders. That's the rumor. And that's something that shorts could not provide. And they would have to provide it somehow on an album that cannot be sold for 100 years. So how are they going to do that? They're going to get they're going to get foreclosed on their positions. They're going to be default and not be able to provide it, and they're going to be forced to close out their shares. That's what's going to happen. So that's why you should care about the Wu-Tang album. Confidence in Homer. I think GME is going to say something good during the first daytime report. They always do it after hours, except for this one, I think. Confidence in Homer. 621 GME calls are bonkers for $20 and $40 strike. Yeah. This one, that's Baidu. I want GME. Where'd GME go? Dang it. Let's go back to there. Why did I lose my GME options chain? Dang it. Oops. I did the wrong. I did Gem, not GME. There we go. Okay. So looking back at 621. Boom, boom, boom. And $20 and $40 strike. What was the $40 strike? 20, 30. Yeah, it's 20,000 at 40, 13,000 at 30, 20,000 at 25, 100,000 at 20. And remember, those numbers are only going to get bigger as we get closer to that date too. So I wouldn't doubt if at some point we probably have 400,000 shares that would be in the money closing in on that date, which represent 30 to 40 million. 300,000 options, which probably represent 30 to 40 million shares that just don't exist. That they'd have to buy in the open market. Balkan, 38,000 BPY shares held into the void. This needs to hurry up and finish so I can go to work and poo on my boss's desk. That seems like as good a goal as any. Except I like my boss or my friend. But for those of you who don't like your boss, yes, squeeze one out into their chair or something. Karen Mirza, are they getting desperate, hammering GME? What's your opinion on how low it will go? I think right now the floor is actually kind of $21. So I wouldn't doubt if tomorrow they push it up, if it gets pushed up a little bit, especially towards close, to kind of keep that floor going. I don't know how much lower they can put it. If they put it lower, I've got another grand I'm buying and more options. That's for sure. I will load up on that. Thousand Shadem, Glennis, I prefer 80s metal, but that Wu-Tang album is like a religious relic to many, so it has value. It's an asset to sell. Mm-hmm. And it can't be sold until, what, like 2088 or something? Raven, I'm buying for you and I, Houston. Just bzz, ready. There's bees ready for takeoff. I am. Bat Bones, everyone thinks that pilot $20 calls on GME are bought, but I think someone sold them thinking this is the end of this run, taking advantage of that high IV. I mean, the options writers are selling them because they've got robots at their companies that go, oh, someone wants this, or we'll sell an option. And that's what's happening. Confidence in Homer, I sold my MMAT, took the loss, bought 3 shares of IAP. I wonder when MMAT is going to file that lawsuit that they claim they're going to do. They announced on Monday. I also wonder, there was a rumor I read last night that Honeywell is trying to do a hostile takeover of MMAT. Apparently they offered $1.2 billion for the company like a year and a half ago, and that was turned down, and that they're now just like buying up shares because someone bought 30% of all the outstanding shares a couple weeks ago. And so yeah, there might be a hostile takeover by Honeywell going on at the moment, and I have no idea what that would mean for shareholders in the end. Not a clue. If they just take the company private and then pay us off X dollars per share, or if we roll into Honeywell in that case, I don't know. Carlos R. just want to say hello, Wade. Thank you for all the insightful info. Well, hello, Carlos R. 24 the money. Nvidia forecast 28 billion revenue for next quarter. China is probably getting these banned AI chips on the secondary market somehow. Oh, they definitely are. What was the name of the other chip broker? The one that was owned by the accountant who laundered money for the Swedish mob, Norwegian mob, and is partnered with the Irish mob, the guy that's like the biggest cocaine dealer for Europe, and they're based in Dubai. They apparently took similar investment from Nvidia, bought a bunch of chips, and then just sell those chips directly to China against U.S. law. So, yeah, there's definitely people in that market illegally selling these chips to China in huge numbers and inflating Nvidia's sales at the same time, while also laundering their cash from their ill-gotten drug operations. So, yeah. King Murphy, Nuggy time, happy birthday. Thank you. Imran Jogi, what should I look out for on level 2 data during after hours? Is there even any point after market price is showing the same as bid ask price, but nothing happens? Yeah, after hours, you're not going to see the market makers and stuff participating in that, so you won't see the market maker codes. So, what you will see is the long-term limit orders people put in. People are like, yeah, I will sell this for $100,000. Cancel in 90 days. You'll see that stuff in there. So you can kind of scroll through and just see like how many people have like shares loaded into their, hey, if the trading computers turn on, this stuff is going to trigger zone. There's a lot of them. Chris Taylor, hello, just tuning in. What's the news with your car? The car drives. She looks great. And it is ready to go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Right, monkey butt? Zoom, zoom. Yeah. Hi. Did you finally go eat your food? Did you? I know you're waiting. All right. We got a little nose. We got a little nose right there. Doop, doop, doop. Buffering ended 5 minutes after the start. Oh, sorry, snort alert. Mohammed Malin. Do you guys talk about MMAT? I just came on the show. We just briefly talked about what's going on. They're gonna sue the manipulators. When? I have no idea. I don't know how nebulous that we're going to do this is, or if they've like drawn things up and filed with court already. And the rumor of Honeywell, the big giant industrial electronics firm. Oh, monkey butt! Look at your little face. Oh, you're such a sweetie. So that's what I got. Trey Spider's here. Frag Rickle. You think Roaring Kitty will come back? Yes. Yes, I do. The current hypothesis about the $20 strikes is Run Lola Run, where she bets everything on 20 on the roulette table, and then that's Roaring Kitty buying up all the stuff. It's either him or UBS. Those are my two theories. Cornstar X, Houston, any news on AMC? No. Other than the fact that they diluted like 100 million more shares? No. Or even internet speeds just fine your end, no lagging? Well, that's good. Maybe it's just an alert today. Somebody, as long as it's somebody other than me for once, they're lagging away. Avocados is here. Ziggy says, smart short may flip and go long before domino effect. Yeah. If I were short, I would set this whole thing off. I would buy a bajillion call options, absolute ridiculous amount of call options at not just one date, but multiple dates throughout the year, so that you have more shares represented by those call options than exist in the entire company. And then I'd start closing out my position using market maker signals, 500 shares, 777 shares, 2,100 shares at a time. Get this thing going through lit market and start exploding. And all you need is one good day where you push a good number of options over on a Friday into the money, causes gamma the next day, and then you just start exercising your options regardless of when the expiration date is. Expiration date could be 3 months from now. Exercise them anyway. Put another 3 million shares in the market. If it's 6 months from now, 3 weeks from now, just start exercising all of them. And if you exercise enough of them, right, because you got cash on hand or whatever, the price will go to the moon. You will get enough shares to cover your closed position, and you will be able to sell so many back into the market, you will make your nut. And why one of these short hedge funds haven't done it yet? I don't know. Seems like if you're going to be that much of a manipulator, you may as well make the money on both sides, right? Mohammed Malin, GP confirmed this. Honeywell didn't make an offer. Oh. Seems like there's a couple of Honeywell guys on the board at the moment. Okay. Okay. Juan Ramirez, if Jimmy squeezes, how high could it go? Millions. If this is MOAS, millions. There'll be somebody selling a fractional share for an amount of money that you didn't think was possible. And all of us will go, what? But yeah, people who sell in the absolute peak, they will sell for so much money. Just hope that you have the opportunity to do that. Right, B, Houston, do you have any options placed for Swapageddon? I've got 14 for June 7th. I've got a couple for the 31st, and then I've got some. I've got another $1,000 if GameStop opens tomorrow pretty low. I would pick up another $1,000 of options, which might get me another 6 to 10. Probably, I think it's 9 because I got 3 at one level and 6 at another, or 7. No, it'd be 10, 7 at another. So yeah, another 10 options. What I want a little volatility leading up to that June 21st, because I want to be able to go up, write it down, go up, write it down, and just at some point have hundreds or 1,000 options if I can for when things do get real. I may be totally wrong on it. It may never happen, but I still got my shares to sit on. But, cash to play with is always cash to play with. Zoobs, the upside to a short is infinity, so it's really about how much balls you have, I guess. Yeah. B-ball 3710, Democrats overwhelmingly voted to allow non-citizens to vote and allow the Fed to create CBDC? Non-citizens to vote. I don't remember seeing that part. But the CBDC vote I saw today was they approved it, but they approved it in that they couldn't use it as surveillance, right? So that's how it went. Little B pixelated Houston. I'm pixelating again. Man. Corbin White, my Jamie calls flopped hard. That's why you got to buy a little further out. If you can have a gamma week, you can buy the weeklies and get big. But if you don't have a gamma week, the bet on that not so good. Just Miami, hello, future millionaires. Raven, FFIE maybe 3 Gs and I'm out. Boom, good. That's how you do it. Joseph Lee, what non-extradition country is worth going to? Depends on where you like living. What is the list of non-extradition countries? Okay, so countries that don't have extradition: Afghanistan, China, Botswana, Brunei, Indonesia, Algeria, Bahrain, Montenegro, Angola, Benin, Burundi, Cambodia, Comoros, Morocco, UAE, Ukraine and Moldova, Andorra, Armenia, Bangladesh, Belarus. So you won't want to go to Belarus. Probably not want to go there. Probably not Bangladesh. Andorra's got some good skiing. Armenia, they're constantly like getting their ass kicked by Azerbaijan. UAE, if you're a cajillionaire. You want to live on the cheap, Cambodia. Botswana's up and coming, but you are landlocked. Algeria, you got weird theocratic leadership. Brunei, you got the Sultan to worry about. Indonesia is fairly modern, although they may elect a fascist this coming election cycle. Probably don't want to go to Afghanistan. Benin, Comoros, Ukraine's at war. Morocco's pretty nice. Montenegro is really nice too. Right there, right there on the Adriatic. The women are spectacular. The hottest girl in my class in high school was an exchange student from Montenegro. She showed up and she was such a supermodel. People were terrified of her. Like they couldn't even like muster words when she walked in, like and yeah. And then I met her entire family. I was like, "Are you all like this in Montenegro?" They're like, "What do you mean?" Yes. So yeah. So if you're a single dude, Montenegro might be a place to go. Yeah. Angola, probably not. Djibouti, Barbados, Somalia, Colombia. Oh, Colombia. You can go to Colombia. It's surprising that Colombia doesn't have an extradition treaty with us, considering that we sent so many drug enforcement guys there to arrest people. That's weird. That's interesting. And why they don't get flags, I don't know. So, yeah, interesting. Citizen 54 cannot wait till elections have passed. This feels like it's all or nothing. Is it as gloomy as it feels, or is there hope democracy will live on? I need hopium because this country is failing us. Well, we might have our answer maybe sometime next week. Maybe the week after. Because they'll be closing arguments in the Trump case, and then the jury goes, and I have a feeling the jury is going to vote to convict. I have no idea what sentencing will be, but that's... If I were a betting man, I'd put money on the jury votes to convict in the Trump case. So, hi Katie. What's up, dude? What's up? Showing everyone that beehole? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Look at that thing. Woo! Luis Gonzalez, hope Bernie Sanders lives another 100 years and still tries to run for president. Donzie Shadem, let's send peak cups to Elon. He probably eats Ambien for breakfast. Oh, you can go to War Monkey? Is that what you're doing? Happy B-Day Gurk. Is it Gherkin's birthday too? Thomas Dubois. How high can Jimmy Squeeze go? Holds a picture of Cheech and Chong really high. And Salty Dog says DFE is not the one buying these contracts. Bat Bones or DFE is using retail for his exit liquidity. Maybe. Slappa debase. Please keep this sense of community after MOAS. I think we will. I think we will visit each other's various country clubs when this is over and private islands. That friggin' guy. Thoughts on Ticketmaster getting sued by the FTC? About 30 years too late. One thing that the Biden administration is doing is they're going after tacked on fees in a big way. They're going after airlines for it. They're going after hotels for it. They're going after ticket agents for it. And because Ticketmaster is basically the only ticket agent in the entire country that's left, and they tack on fees like crazy. Like, oh, the concert's $25. And then you're like, get your bill and you're like $300 because there's, a handling fee and a whatchamajigger fee and this weird tax. And so basically the government is forcing them to put all this stuff up front and tell you like, hey, if you go on, I don't know, Expedia, right, to go buy an airline ticket, and you're going to, I don't know, Vegas. You see that there's like, there's American Airlines for $110. There's Alaskan for $108. Oh, Frontier, that's $25. Sweet. And you find out that carry-on is charged, checked bag is charged. You want to pick your seat is charged. And so what they're going to require them to do is show you the ticket price for Frontier if you had all the options you got with the American or Alaskan Airlines one. Like, this is what it's actually going to cost you if you got the same quality as these guys. You're like, oh, it's the same price. So why would I fly Frontier or Spirit or whatever? That's kind of what they're what they're going to force these companies to do. And it looks like they're trying to do it with Ticketmaster as well. Ticketmaster is straight up monopoly, and Pearl Jam took them on in the early 90s, trying to overthrow them. And even they weren't powerful enough to do it. They're still stuck playing concert halls where Ticketmaster is the only option to get tickets. So, yeah, by all means, FTC, sue the shit out of them. Not my name. IEP got out of Newell. He got out. Do you think something's cooking? Yes. I think something's cooking. I think that they got out to halt any antitrust stuff that would come along, and that instead they probably got in something else that will get in the Newell brands. That'd be my guess. Imran Jogi, poo on my desk for $4.99. You're welcome to poo on my desk all you want, as long as I can watch. Okay. 413. Dawn and Slap at a Base talking about their bases. Zuma got to a nub. PBY probably won't come back till after these swaps are rewritten, because how can you rewrite them when they don't exist anymore? Leaving them with the bag handling. That's a good point, Zio my god dude with nub. Get $87 billion in liability. And GME is probably in the baskets in these big swaps, right? Because you can have everything else in the baskets. Costs and AMC and Nokia and BlackBerry and et cetera, right? And if the shares are pulled and they rejigger these swaps and send them off again, they're going to do so without Bed Bath & Beyond being inside of it, because the shares don't exist. That'd be a great time to reissue the shares and stick the original assholes with those bags. I like that. I like that theory, Zio my god dude with nub. I like that a lot. Yeah. Slap at a base tomorrow, low volume day expected? I sure expect a low volume flat day. I expect a low volume flat day and probably something happening at the end of power hour at the end of the day. That seems to be what always someone seems to jump in there and push it, a few bucks right at the end of the day. I wouldn't doubt if that happens. Not my name. Why is it Newell brand stock price crashing after that news last week? You got me. Mohammed Malin GP confirmed this Honeywell didn't make offer. Again, all right. Interesting. Galenas, thank you for the woo explanation, Houston. You're welcome. Chris F. bought 200 more shares today. Fantastic. Confidence Homer. In The Big Short, Mike Burry paid monthly fees so the big firms would carry his short plays. I wonder who is paying fees for these leaps and bullet swaps. Probably all the family funds and hedge funds out there, because they all make the same plays. They all come from the same school. They all know the same people. They all have the same drinks, the same bars after work, and they all are just as creative as the next guy, which is, I'll short this company into the ground, and then they all in chorus short the same company into the ground. Yeah. 605. Sorry about the GME price action today. I had to buy a couple GME $20 July calls. It's your fault again? No ass. Frederical. Is the cycle over? Why is RC and DFE so sus to this time around? Kind of confused. Sus? I don't see sus happening. The Otang clan. Can these halts prevent MOAS? They seem to kill momentum every darn time. Halts definitely can, but at some point, they're going to have to just turn off the circuit breakers. Because what will happen is the stock price will get so high that when it does those big jumps, it will avoid the circuit breakers entirely. And they're just going to have to close these positions. So we're just going to just close. And they're going to have to let it go. They're going to turn off the circuit breakers, let it do its thing. Let's get this thing over with as fast as we can and get out of the news cycle and start over. Batbones Houston, I'm just curious, have you ever personally exercised the GME option? Because I never did. Gains were so sweet on just cashing in. Yes, I've done a few. When the cycles were happening in 2021, I exercised some then. But I haven't exercised any recently because the cycle stopped happening. So I was like, all right, it's gonna happen this month, and then nothing happened, and there it is. So, but I haven't really done much in the way of GME calls in a year. From earnings last year for quarter four to earnings quarter four this year, I didn't do any GME call options during that time because it just did this the whole time. Turkish Houston, please unban 101 Nas 101 so he can tap about rock solid. Did I didn't ban him, but I can, maybe someone else did. I will look. It takes a while for me to figure out how to do that again. Ziggy 780, RC can push the gamma price good. Buy and wait and more weight. Confidence Homer. Can we have a safe word where we tell you to cash in your winning plays? Paul M. Yeah, Trump's getting convicted. Worst case, they have a hung jury due to somehow a MAGA person slipping in. There is one guy who was on the jury who did say that he got all of his news from X and Truth Social. But then again, there was a similar guy on the E. Jean Carroll trial, and he voted to convict also. So Trump really put in a really terrible job. He did a terrible job. The jury was watching him fall asleep. The jury was smelling his farts. He was cold ripping farts apparently the entire time, just asleep and farting, and that's enough to make juries go ugh. And they had no defense. They got just ripped apart with the witnesses that the prosecution brought, and then the final witness of the defense. The judge had to clear the room and reprimand him and tell him, like, you roll your eyes at me one more time, I'm throwing your ass in jail. So, and it's very likely at the end of the trial, Trump's going to be sentenced for contempt anyway. He may have to spend time in jail for contempt because the judge was like, well, we'll discuss this at the end. So, yeah, some things could be happening there. Stephanie L. Houston, late joining in the GME and BBY spaces. They are stressing DRSing our shares. If necessary, I have less than 50 shares. If you want to, you can. Go for it. But, do what you want to do. Ziggy780, my personal opinion. Tomorrow, price goes back above 21.22. Everyone will buy more options for June. Long weekend, news drops, catches the shorts off guard because they anticipate June. I'm okay with that. Let's go with it. Bad Bones. I still think that Rentec Capital's Jim Simmons, who passed 7 or 8 days before the run, said with his last breath, "Run this bitch." Yeah, apparently he's behind this all the way. And if you had invested like $10,000 with him, you'd have $4 billion or something today. Yeah, he was quite the quant. Watch Dumb Money now. I heard Seth Rogen is playing Houston Wade. All right. Psych you up. Come on, Houston. Put a number on GME at top of peak. Just a little guessy. 69,420,666. There you go. Oh, there's a reset the chat again. What's up at a base? How's the Nokia option chain looking? Well, let's look at Nokia. Knock options chain. Nokia options chain. We're gonna look at the June 21st as well. Well, got some in there. We've got at the money 4,000, just above 12, just above 13. So, and they're cheap. Oh my goodness, those are real cheap. Huh. Interesting. So current price 385. That's a really, really cheap. Interesting. Also, the puts are really cheap. I think it must have been. I haven't looked at it much recently. It must have been pretty stable as of late. Carlos R., how would we get our BBYQ shares back? They would get reissued because the company would emerge from bankruptcy, either as a reorganized entity or as controlled by another entity. And if that other entity wants to utilize the nulls, they got to give us our shares back. And those shares would either be BBYQ shares or shares in the new company or shares from the merger, whatever. That's how we get them back. So they write a thing, order, send it to all the brokerages, being like, give them their shares back. And then bling, the shares reappear. Hazel A says, PP show last night said our shares will come back as BBBYV. We don't know when, but we suspect it to be soon. I hope so. Job Cobb is set to maximum? Really? Quebec Whammernet. Quebec Whammernet. Hello, Houston. You the man. The volume started like this last time in 2021 run. The volume this time is no way near where it was before. Do you expect the same for this cycle? If we start, if it's like next Friday, we close a bunch over the money. Let's look at the options chain for GameStop options chain. Let's look at next Fridays for those swaps. Okay, almost puny amounts of options. I wonder if Monday or even tomorrow right before close we see this jump up. There's only a few thousand options that have sold for next Friday. Even the option chain goes all the way up to 128. So we might see options buying them on right before close tomorrow and a whole bunch on Monday for this Friday. Or for next Friday, I mean. But right now, not too many. So we wouldn't be getting the gamma that we'd normally expect, because only right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 shares. That's 8,000 options. That's 800,000 shares for next Friday currently in the money. So there'd be a lot more buying. So it looks like the interesting stuff are going to happen probably the week after. June 7th. June 7th's got more. June 14th. June 14th has almost none. Keep our eyes on that. Ding dong, are they covering their swaps on June 3rd at market close? I have no idea. I have no idea if they'll start that Monday, because the swaps will have expired on the previous Friday, and then you have the super swap on the 3rd. So, well, which would be that Monday. June 3rd is a Monday. So, I guess we can. I don't know if we're on chin stroking yet. I think we're still on thumb twiddling. I have to twiddle some thumbs until then. Whimsy Chaser, sorry. So was all that volume early last week from the Gamma ramp or something else? XRT FTDs in March? Apparently there's a lot of XRT FTDs in March because they had to short the hell out of GameStop in order to have it crush the earnings. Seems likely. Stephanie L, he was farting. Ew. Yes. Apparently he was falling asleep and cold ripping farts like the entire time. Geminius Houston, I see the options chain keeps going up with the chain this loaded. Who's actually risking the creation of new options here? Seems risky. Market makers and options houses. Those are the guys who are taking on this risk. And I think the option houses, everything is done algorithmically. Like you put an option order and they just look out, oh, there's one, and they just sell an option to it without even thinking. They may have to have a person step in and be like, ooh, stop. Because my guess is almost all those options for June, naked. The shares don't exist for them. And yeah, so that seems to be what I would see. Okay. Well, got 2 minutes to go. Monkey, did we make it? Did we do it? Yeah? All right, I'm at the end of the chat. Cool. I gotta go to the post office. I think there's a package waiting for me at the post office. So oh my god, I just realized I forgot to mail the... I forgot to mail my Charity Tuesdays from last month. I still have them here. All right, Josh Pet Pals and crap, who was the other one? Josh Pet Pals and Demetrius Maximoff. I still owe you your knickknacks from Charity Tuesday. I'm so can't believe I haven't done that yet. Okay, I'm doing that now. Bad Bones FYI, if we don't get more, and I mean a lot more out of the money options from now 20 to 60 to come, I think we are done. They won't hedge up to and continue a run. Looks like people are just selling covered calls now. I would never sell a covered call at $20 on GameStop. That seems like a really dumb idea. I'd sell a covered call for next week at 128. But no. Yeah. All right. Okay. Peace out, everybody. I will catch you tomorrow for a show. Hopefully there'll be weird news we can talk about then. And take care of yourselves, and high fives and slappity sloop.